Let's talk some Guardians, guys. Our Guardians topic today brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, in practicing every detail to get the best results, but no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier at Epicor. The All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices, from small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision. We'll equip you with the right tools to move forward. Think ahead and lead the way, because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier finds the lane. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. That is easierwithepicor.com. Bull, yesterday at about 12:23 p.m., we were talking about the Guardians on this very program, and you said their offense was abysmal. It was an atrocity. It hurt your eyes to look at that lineup. And then about an hour and 8 minutes later, Carlos Santana hit a grand slam as part of an 11-run outburst for the Guardians offense. Bull, how stupid do you feel that you were just dead wrong on the Guardians having an abysmal night? They put up 11 runs on Nick Lodolo,
I know you're messing around, but I got people that tweet every time the Guardians have a good offensive game, they tweet these stupid things at me. First of all, they tweeted at me as if I'm rooting for the Guardians to lose. I want them to be good. I wish they had a good offense. Their offense sucks. My friend Ed, who's a huge baseball fan, he's in our the fantasy baseball league too. He and I were discussing the '97 Indians yesterday. We just randomly ended up this is what guys do sometimes. We randomly end up conversations about the '97 Indians, how ridiculous their lineup was on the good side as opposed to this team, and we were like, he goes to me. He's like, did you know that the Indians traded Jeff Kent off those teams?
And I was sucked when he was here.
Right. I forgot. Like, I knew he had played for the Indians, but I hadn't really thought that he would.
He was awful.
That guy should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. How he's not in the Hall of Fame, I have no idea. He's one of the greatest second basemen to ever play. I think he was unlikable, and
he was.
Writers are stupid and let that affect whether you put them in the Hall of Fame or not. But, like, can you imagine?
Then you think Curt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame?
I think Curt Schilling is borderline. I'm okay with voting for him. I do think what he's done is extreme and not the same as Jeff Kent.
I don't want to derail the whole thing. Go ahead. Continue.
You don't think it's a little different?
No, you just said that writers are letting their personal feelings because they don't like Jeff.
Right, but when you're saying writers should be hanged, that's a little different.
Well, yeah.
That's a little different than being surly.
I mean, certainly as a writer, I disagree.
Yeah. You know what? As much as I detest Curt Schilling, I would
he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Vote for him.
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't believe the sock was bloody. I think it was phony. But anyway, but I yes, as much as I detest him, I would vote for him for the Hall of Fame.
97 Indians.
So we were just like talking about that, and I think about these lineups now and just how pathetic they are. And like they traded away Brian Giles, who was a good player. There was another good player.
Richie Sexton.
But he was. Yeah, he was too. But there was somebody else. It wasn't Richie Sexton. I don't know. That team had there was one game.
I mean, 95 was better than 97.
Well, but there was one game in 97 where I think they had Tommy. I want to say Tommy, Manny, and Sandy Alomar Jr. hit 7, 8, 9, and I was like,
that was 95.
Was that 95?
Yeah. 95, they were obscene.
Yeah, we were talking about whole stretch of time.
I thought 96 was the best.
Because we were talking about the fact that they that it was the best team that never won the World Series.
That was 95.
That I've ever seen. Yeah. And not just one year. I mean, just like the team that was great over a stretch of time that never won a World Series, to me, is that team by a lot. Obviously, they always fell short in the pitching. But the fact that their payroll actually, forget the 90s, their payroll is only $7 million more than it was in 2001 or 2002, whatever that was. They had like a $90 million payroll that year, is ludicrous. And so, yes, yesterday they hit. That was good. They won the game. They needed to win the game to avoid going to just one game over 500. But over the course of the season, and I had one of the kids on my baseball team, Sam, is a huge Guardians fan. And he's like, their lineup's not bad. And I was like, Sam, I don't mean to make you sad, but their lineup stinks. He was so bummed when I said that. But you got to keep it real, right, Tyvus?
You broke the news to the kid.
Got to keep it real.
Why would you? Why
Next
would
tell
you
him
do
there's
that?
no Santa.
Yeah. Why would you do that? Though?
I mean, he's 12. Shouldn't you know?
Why would you crush
11.
that kid's dream?
You just said run it up on kids at 11.
and you went against me, but yet when it comes to telling them the truth about that, you're
That's the truth.
willing to do it.
That's the yeah. So I'm like, their lineup stinks, and they played well yesterday, but no, what kind of idiot would change their mind about a team based on one game? Never. Their
They just haven't hit
and
that-
by the way, they scored that 11 with no Quan, and for some reason, all of a sudden, Stephen Vogt has decided that Kyle Manzardo doesn't play anymore.
Not against lefties. It's insane. He should be in the lineup every single day.
It's crazy.
Every single day.
What
He
are
needs
they
to be in the lineup.
doing?
You know, the interesting thing, I was my
Yeah.
my co-host in Columbus brought
Yeah.
this up. They did a poll on the top 3 most likable managers by players in MLB, most respected.
Yeah.
Did you know that Tito was 2nd and Stephen Vogt is 3?
Who did a poll?
I don't remember.
I believe it was The Athletic.
Yeah, it might have been that.
We just did an anonymous
You mean
poll.
you mean the players voted on this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean? I didn't say he wasn't likable.
If we would just spend some couple dollars, we could actually have. There's people that actually will want to come here and play for Stephen Vogt.
Yeah, there are players who'd want to play here. Sure.
I didn't think
If the
that was a
Guardians spent
thing.
money.
I thought that people was like, it's Cleveland, blah blah blah.
They feel the same way the other teams in town do. It's hard to get free agents to come here.
See,
I mean,
that's-
especially when you don't pay them.
They've never tried.
I mean,
You would keep most of your own guys if you spent.
well, yeah,
Yes.
That's
they
really
don't spend, so
that's-
that-
it's really more about retaining what
Wait-
you develop more
wait a
than
minute.
bringing
Yeah.
in free agents.
You just 2 days ago, you
Yeah.
sat up here, you just ripped every farm player ever.
Yes.
Who you want to keep now?
I'd like to keep Stephen Kwan. He's actually good.
You right?
Okay, they're not going to sign him.
You don't think?
No.
How many years he got?
Are we talking about trading him this offseason?
This is his 3rd year, right?
Or the next offseason?
You don't
Fourth
think
year.
they
This
gonna
is
pay
4th
him?
year. Is this
No.
his 4th year? Is this Quan's
Is it-
4th year?
It's not like he demanding top dollar.
I don't know what he's demanding. How do we know?
The opportunity to sign him, I believe.
They're not
has
going to sign
passed.
him.
There's the same thing with what we said about Josh Naylor, for a year or two. And sure enough, they moved him. Although they never really tried to sign him.
Naylor?
No, which I understand on Naylor
What
because of the body type.
would
and-
Quan contract?
Quan's hard to predict because there's not a lot of comps for him
I
in
thought
baseball.
more power would come this year than what has.
Okay.
Said it wouldn't.
So
You're
that
right. You
so
said
that
it
knocks him down.
Yeah, he's not getting nobody's paying a singles hitter massive contract.
No.
13 million
he's-
a year, something like that.
No, I get more than that.
He's
17.
More than that.
I'd have to look at the comps. I don't
I don't
the
know.
comps.
Like I think I've mentioned Benintendi as a comp.
Yeah, but he never lived up to that. He was
I know that.
terrible.
No, but I'm saying Benintendi before he signed that deal.
Yeah.
What was he getting? 20?
He got
I got more than that, I think. When it like 22?
I don't remember. Obviously, it's a number of years
Can
later.
you look that up, Mike? Andrew
Who's a
Benintendi's
comp?
contract?
Luis Arise?
No, I think he's better than Arise.
Benintendi got 5 for 75.
I can't.
Oh, so it wasn't as much. It was 15 a year.
Okay.
Who's
But
it-
that was also, what, 10 years ago now? 5 years ago?
I'll tell you who could be a comp who recently signed an extension. Not exactly the same player, but a similar profile. Nico Horner of the Cubs. He's got even less power than Quan, but
Yeah.
no power, great base runner, great defender,
what's his contract?
good hitter.
He signed a 3-year, 35.
and he was, you know,
35. What's that?
Yeah.
What's-
11,
I think
11,
11 and a half per year.
How many
Yeah,
home
that's not
runs
a
does
lot.
Quan have?
You don't think they could give him that?
no, it's probably it's not. He would want more. Than
At this point, he wants to test the market. He's
Yeah.
got 5. Yeah, he's probably not going to get to more than 15.
Nope. I mean, we're rapidly approaching the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, he's a 300 hitter he's never hit 300 in
no.
his career.
No. He's a 400 hitter.
No, he's
No.
a 300 hitter. He's
No
Never
such
even hit
thing.
300 in his career.
that's
time.
why, yeah. But Gold Glove outfielder,
I hate
speed,
you. I hate
300 hitter.
Benintendi.
Benintendi's not bad. That's probably the closest comp.
You know, again, it feels weird now because Benintendi stinks, but
Good
at the time he
Benintendi.
did.
Good Benintendi.
He
I wanna
signed
say-
that deal 10 years
I
ago?
believe,
was about 8
Jason,
years
I believe Benintendi's contract. Look this up, Mike. If I remember this exactly, I want major kudos. But I believe Benintendi signed a 5-year, $75
said
million
that.
He said
deal.
3
He just
I
said
literally
that.
just said that a second ago.
Oh, yeah.
Where was I?
Sitting right
Right
there.
Sitting right next to
And it looks
you.
disingenuous because I said I wanted a pat on the back. But I honestly did not hear
Thanks
you
for
say
listening.
that.
Good job.
It was exactly 5
Maybe I
for 75.
subconsciously took that in from you saying, but I didn't remember you saying that.
And this is
Bad
the
job
last
of
year
me.
of the deal, Jason, by the way.
Oh,
And it was a
5 years
terrible
ago?
deal.
Yeah, he's been awful.
But
Quan is gonna get
if
something like that.
Quan would be looking for 5 for 125.
yes, it's got to have.
How old is Quan?
9 figures. It's got to be 9 figures.
How
for
old
him
is
to
Stephen
sign.
Kwan?
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan is 27 years old. He'll turn 28 in September.
And when does he's got how many years till free agent? What the year does it say?
I think this is his first year of arbitration. I think, right? Does he have 2? Is this year 4 for him?
Stephen Kwan, according to Spotrac,
Yeah.
he avoided arbitration this year. Then he has 2 more years of arbitration.
Okay, so
before
2 more years to
arbitration.
free agency.
I mean, Zach and I just had a conversation about. He said you might have to write. This is the off season where they have to look at trading.
They're going to trade if you
With
don't
two-
sign him this offseason, you got to trade him,
with
which is
2 years of control
terrible.
left.
So what? How much did he make in arbitration this year? Probably nothing.
4.1.
Yeah, that's nothing.
So
let's say he would. What's he going to make next year in arbitration? 7.
6.5, 7.
Okay.
7.5.
And then the last year he made 10.
10.
So let me
Okay,
get,
so 17 over 2. So offer him a 7-year, $140 million deal. Would you do that if you're the Guardians? I would.
so let me get this right.
You
So
buy his
buy out
last 2 years of
in
arbitration.
3 years of free agency.
No, and 7-year, 5 years after that.
Let me.
You got that still takes him to 35. And I think he's the type of player that will hold up into his mid-30s because I think his profile holds up.
It really comes down to me, when does Blitzer become the majority owner,
Right,
and
right.
can you
Because-
push?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, that's a fair contract for both sides, but can
Would
you
you
afford
say
to spend that
7
money on? Can you afford to spend that money on a non-power hitter when you don't spend any money? So it's a tricky spot. Nobody really spends on non-power hitters.
Let me get this right.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing y'all correctly,
Yeah.
y'all are telling me that this lineup that's already bad
Yes.
next year in this offseason,
Yeah.
you going to get rid of one of your bright spots.
That's what they did this past year. Did they not?
That's fair.
They got rid of Josh Naylor.
That's fair. Okay, but
Their
like,
second best power hitter and second or third best player
if
overall.
he's not there, who would?
I have no idea, Tyvis. I don't know. They never call guys to the majors. When they do, they stink. Manzardo was their only guy having success. He goes,
Quan
he
is
goes
out.
into a 2-week slump. He doesn't play anymore.
Quan is out right now. Who's playing for him right now?
Yeah, what? That doesn't mean anything. Oh, we'll say they'll bring up Chase DeLauder. They'll bring up this guy. They'll bring up that guy. Jason, we just went through it. Their top 10 prospects from 2022, outside of Gavin Williams, not a single guy has any value in a trade.
Yeah, I went
none.
back-
And they could have traded all of them or most of them for at least half, if not 3/4 of them, for something legit. None of them have trade value. Nobody. And I could even argue Gavin Williams has less trade value than he did 3 years ago.
Oh, for sure he does.
Right? So
Yes.
even him. And he's the only one that's not. Everybody else from 3 years ago is either a bust or has been
All
disappointed.
players lose value as the contract clock
Sure. But he's also.
But
he's not been as good as we thought
He has not.
He's good, but not been
their
top
problem.
notch.
Their problem was they could never. We said this the other day. They could never separate who are the guys we want to keep and build around.
Yeah.
Who's the trade bait. That's one thing that I think Tampa does a great job of identifying.
Yeah.
These are the guys we're going to build around.
Yeah.
Kyle Manzardo's trade bait. Junior Caminero is a centerpiece piece.
Yeah.
Kyle Manzardo we're going to trade. And the Guardians have not been able to do that because they all ended up not working out.
And let's face it. Last thing, Mike. Tampa Bay is better organization than Cleveland from the front office perspective, and here's why. First of all, Cleveland spends more than Tampa, and yet Tampa, in a much better division, is just as consistent at winning as Cleveland is.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest difference. We know the Guardians, Indians, are fantastic at developing pitching. They're right there with Tampa and
Seattle,
one or two other teams, best in the league. But Tampa also develops hitting.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland Guardians do not develop hitting. The only 2 hitters since Lindor are Quan and Ramirez, and those guys came out of nowhere. Neither one was a big prospect. Every single big prospect they've had since Lindor to this point is either a bust or unproven, has not shown enough. That's it. There's no exceptions. Who? Give me one guy. Every big prospect since Lindor over a decade ago or a decade ago.
Manzardo is
Well, they traded for him.
They traded for
they
him.
did
He got
trade
developed by Tampa Bay.
Big Christmas.
Speaking of which, by the way, remember
letting
Jay
it
was
go, Chase.
Jay was apoplectic when they traded
Savali.
Aaron Savali for Kyle Manzardo. Aaron Savali just got demoted to the bullpen in Milwaukee.
Tough look.
That was the only time they could make that trade. If you called,
That was a very good trade.
it was.
It was a very good
I
trade.
liked it at the time. Like it was a hard trade to make at the time. But if you called them in April and said, we'll give you Aaron Savali for Kyle Manzardo, they would have hung up the phone and changed the number.
Yes.
If you ask them after the season in September, it was literally the only time in history you could trade Aaron Savali and get Kyle Manzardo.
And how? I don't understand. Why is he on the bench every day now? I don't understand what's
Because
happening.
they are obsessed with these platoon splits.
It's ridiculous. You want to sit him against Skubal?
Fine. Yeah. Wade Miley?
that's-
You can't start him against Wade Miley?
The guy was a free agent 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's just crazy. All right.
Every day. He should be at first base
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.